Alright, I'm going to have to try this again because apparently the sound didn't work, so let's try take two. Alright, first things first. You guys already went over the vocabulary, so I'm assuming you're okay with that. I had for you guys to read today the Hey Nilda and Hi Rachel videos. They're about taking responsibility. If you look onto the following pages, you've got the free verse narrative. You know that a free verse is a poem that does not make use of rhyme or regular meter. It may contain imagery and descriptive language, and a narrative poem is a poem that tells a story. So you're going to look for aspects of those two. You can see in this particular poem, it tells a story between two characters. You get a plot, you get character and setting. You know what's going on, so that's a narrative poem. Next, you have point of view. In a narrative poem, just like in fiction, the story can be told from one of the character's point of view. That character would be known as the speaker. The poet would use first person to put you into the place of this particular speaker. In this case, you can see the speaker of the text is Rachel, and she's telling the story. She uses the pronouns I, me, and my. Okay? All right, moving right along. Alliteration and assonance. These are terms that we've gone over multiple times. Alliteration is the repetition of a consonant sound at the beginning of a word that are near each other, and they give you an example. It says wondering, worrying, why, weird, weak. And you know, assonance is the repetition of a vowel sound within a group of words. Poets use both of these to give the sing-song-like quality to a poem and to draw attention to feelings or other ideas expressed in a passage. Okay. And then you have figurative language, otherwise known as an idiomatic expression or an idiom. It's when you take the words that have a different meaning than the literal meaning of the individual words. So if you see talks a mile a minute, that doesn't mean anything to do with distance. It just means to say that the speaker is speaking very fast. In this case, they give you some examples. For instance, made a beeline. You may not be familiar with that expression, made a beeline. But what that means, if you see a detail that says hustle and rush, you can assume that if you're hustling and rushing to the bus, that making a beeline would be in a very direct manner, or walked quickly and directly. Okay? I gave you some practice pages that follow. There's just this one page, two little poems, an owner and a lost dog talking to each other. There are 4 questions that follow. I need you guys to answer these in good 6th grade quality answers. 6th grade quality, complete sentences, complete thoughts. The next page, there's a small little poem, and there's 3 questions that follow. This is more about the parts of a narrative poem or free verse. The next page deals with the alliteration and assonance that we just discussed. I'm assuming that with spelling you guys are good, because I believe it was page 117 we went over yesterday, even though we didn't start with it. So I'm assuming you guys are okay with the spelling. On grammar, you have something called a standalone possessive pronoun. Now, we talked about possessive pronouns yesterday. Pronouns take the place of a noun. Possessive pronouns show possession, right? In this case, some possessive pronouns can stand alone and can be used in place of a noun. These possessive pronouns would be like mine, yours, his, hers, ours, and theirs. Most possessive pronouns that can stand on their own are different from the possessives that precede or come before a noun. My becomes mine, like my pencil, it's mine. Or your teacher becomes yours. Her becomes hers, our becomes ours, and their becomes theirs. His, however, stays the same. And then what I want you to do here is look at the pairs of sentences. They reword it to make the pronoun stand alone. Choose the correct stand-alone possessive pronoun to complete the sentence. And on page 88, this is more about the grammar aspect than the actual pronouns. When you're using quotation marks to set off a direct quote from the rest of the sentence, you use quotation marks. You capitalize the first word in a quotation, put commas and periods inside the quotation marks. So, if I'm not using a direct quote, if I'm just saying, Ricardo told Mr. Parzik that he was finished, that's not a direct quote. I don't need quotation marks. But if I said, Ricardo said, comma, quotation, Mr. Parzik, I finished my work, period, quotation. Okay? The only time you use a period inside the quotations is if the quote ends the sentence. Otherwise, use a comma, a question mark, or an exclamation point. So they want you to rework these 6 sentences using those rules. okay? All right, well, that's the video that didn't work there. A couple last thoughts. First of all, we weren't planning necessarily to be out, but at the end of the day yesterday, I did tell you, I said, be aware of the weather, take home everything that you need. Your My Special Place project, as I told you guys before, it is not due until Thursday because I want it in my hand. I'm not going to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I want it in my hand. The two exceptions, if you are a remote learner only, you can attach that at any point. And for those of you that typed and I told you that I would print, if you share your document with me, then of course you don't have to have it in your hand on Thursday. I'll be able to print that out for you. But otherwise, hold on to it for now. Take an extra day or two to polish it up, and I want to see it tomorrow. You're My Special Place tomorrow. Okay? I posted another video on social studies that apparently also didn't work right, so I will be re-recording that as well, so please make sure you watch that, and you're working on your Andrew Jackson project. Again, with today and as far as tomorrow as well, you're going to have some time on your hands. Unfortunately, I can't print out a website, so there's not a lot we can do in class on this other than the discussion part. So you're going to have to do some of this outside of class. So I will account for some of your time tomorrow outside of class. Okay? All right. Be active. If you have any questions, please make sure you're asking. One more thing. There's a chance of some weather coming in tomorrow night. So please be aware of that. We may have our day impacted on Thursday as well. So be active, ask questions, let me know what you need, and hopefully the sound is working on the video this time. And I will go in and try to replace what I have, okay? All right, let me know if you need anything, and watch shortly, and I'll have a social studies video as well. Thank you.